Guys, good morning. I'm here again. My name is Munachiso Ejieji, founder and CEO of HubbonNG. Um, Over time, I figured out that if you in my quest for entrepreneurship and in my quest to kind of involve people to start thinking about potential businesses that they would be involved in, the question then arose obviously from conversations with people and responses I was getting from different groups that I'm in. And the questions were, well, they took various forms anyways, but the questions were, is everyone supposed to be an entrepreneur? And at that point, when thinking about that question and rummaging through my mind for possible answers to it became clear enough that certainly not everyone is supposed to be an entrepreneur. And these are my reasons. First of all, it should be being, entre- being an entrepreneur should be something that is like a yearning to you. It's supposed to be something deep ingrained in your psyche. It's not something that people are supposed to convince you to do. It's something that you're supposed to be prone to do in terms like in the sense that it's like a hunger. It's something that you have to do. It sort of it displays itself in patterns. Like for me, I discovered mine quite early. Being able to get bored easily doing something, not being able to stick to certain schedules. Obviously, this is not like a blanket statement. So for people, it means different things, and they might display different patterns to show exactly what they're supposed to do, kind of if they qualify to be an entrepreneur, kind of. I don't know. It's not nothing too specific here. I'm just kind of giving an example. I'm not kind of telling you this is what makes you an entrepreneur and this is not what makes you an entrepreneur. What makes you an entrepreneur is your heart and your ability to pick a problem and try to solve it. But the thing is, I mean, some people might look for qualities in them and ask themselves such questions. But the thing you have to focus on is, do you is it is there something that's a problem that you focus on and that kind of keeps you awake at night? That's something that you always think about. And does it align with your passions? Does it align with your skill set? Because those kind of things are important because you can't you can't not you can't want to be an entrepreneur and you can't communicate properly, you can't lead properly, and you can't be able to kind of generally you don't have to be a good manager, but you have to have the skill set to be able to bring the best out in people. Obviously, that's also a leadership role. An entrepreneur is a leader in a way, although kind of he has to be able to coordinate people and put people in the place so that they can maximize their own potentials and obviously maximize profits as well as a result. So, what an entrepreneur is someone that, in my own terms, is someone that wants to solve a problem and also make profits as a result. Obviously, if you're not making profits, you're probably a charity or a government facility or something, or a government ministry or something. So, if you're intentionally or if you're focused on being an entrepreneur, you need to think about this. It is not a job, so if you prefer to do a 9 to 5, this is not for you. This is something that obviously when you even start, it has to be something you dream you sleep, you eat that particular business. That's the key. That's the key. Something that I realized, and one thing when I started my own journey, I focused on the problem. I knew the money was never going to be the issue for me. Although, yes, that's why I had to kind of supplement it doing other things. And that's why I'm really still very, very grateful for studying civil engineering because it helps me to make ends meet. And at this point where I am, I'm also a National Youth Service hopper. So I get like supplementary income that kind of enables me to still focus on the business, which is key as well. So if you're ever thinking of being an entrepreneur, I think first of all you should try and solidify your idea before you leave your job. You just don't, although some people still just jump into it, but it's also key that if you don't have a support system, you should kind of double it until one becomes an issue, or that job you're taking becomes an issue to your business, and if you're raising enough money for that. But in that sense, also funding solves that kind of problem. Even if it's something that if you 100% want to go for it, you just go for it and then get funding, get angel investors, get go into accelerator programs, go into incubate, go and be part of an incubation program. There's so many opportunities for that, even in Nigeria, which obviously is another point that I want to point on in the next video, which will be centered on changing the ideology of investments in Nigeria or in Africa as a whole. But that's not what we're here for. Um, if you're a startup entrepreneur, especially when you're kind of doing the business kind of all on your own in the early stages, there's no schedule. Trust me. I used to get calls 9 p.m., 10 p.m. I just had to learn to kind of set up a work-life balance, switching off my phones or turning them on silent, and then trying not to just take jobs at odd hours. Sometimes I do, but I charge express fee. So, it's kind of something that you have to think about really well because it's not just a decision that you just jump into. And obviously you have to obviously have worked on an idea, have a plan, and to know how exactly you're going to do things. And employ people that will kind of take the burden off, because one thing I know, or one thing I've learned being an entrepreneur, if you do all the work, you're not kind of a CEO does not do all the work. He has to be able to he has to be able to delegate and you know give out certain jobs that he remains on top of things and does like a supervisory role. Obviously, when you start, that's not how it works. Obviously, so you have to put your foot to the pedal and grind the hours out. Sometimes this is well, what like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. and I'm grinding this video out. So it's really really key and something that keeps you going. Something that people don't really talk about that keeps you going. It's something that if you find it fun, you just it just doesn't it doesn't become difficult anymore. If it's something that you enjoy doing, trust me, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., you'll be up doing that thing. So it's really key to find out where do your passions lie, because your passions and your skills and the problem that you want to solve, that is your business. So the way to find out is kind of ask people what they typically ask you to do or ask you for. Sometimes you already have a general idea of what that is. Second question is, what is that biting issue for you? What is that problem that keeps you up at night? Especially in Nigeria, there's so many problems, so you should have one that keeps you up at night. And then, what are your skill sets? And if you don't have those skill sets yet, don't fret about it. There's always so many ways of kind of supplementing what you already have. Like for me, let me use myself as an example, right? So One thing I figured out, especially from my lecture with Mr. Peterson and then the life's purpose and clarity, um, I realized that my main issue with life, or my main issue with Nigeria and the problem I wanted to solve, kind of extends beyond poor delivery service. It encom- the whole thing encompasses my issue is low productivity in the system, both in private and in public companies or institutions, and in people in general. So that's why I felt, beyond building a delivery and advertising service, I might as well become, like, personally become a coach, a business coach, or a social media expert. So I'm still kind of figuring myself out, and that's the joy of it, because you can't just have everything figured out. You can't have everything planned out. And that's why people get scared of going into entrepreneurship, because they feel everyone that goes into it already has every single thing figured out. And that's not right. Businesses change, businesses evolve, and literally they stop and start again. There's nothing wrong with that. It's part of life. Priorities change, passions change, but it's just being able to be on top of your game and knowing that you're in charge of everything that you do. And in the other sense, people tend to say, if you don't like a 9 to 5 job, if you don't if 9 to 5s are like how to read that poor that said that 9 to 5 jobs are like dangling the carrot, salary is like dangling the carrot in front of somebody, and you feel that the more you earn, the more financially stable you are. And but that's you kind of made it like if you're on a salary job, you're just like a servant of somebody, which obviously in a way it is, but in another way, you're kind of still giving your all, and you're making a system better, even if you're part of a system as a staff. So I mean, most people have where they're supposed to be, and at any point in time or anywhere where you are, it's very important to always give your 100%. So, in all these, in everything that I've stated, I think is fair enough to kind of use myself as an example. So, how did I figure out that I was supposed to be an entrepreneur? So, obviously, it didn't start all at once, but I think the main point was ending my job with the university, Coventry University, as a student ambassador. So, obviously, I said in my last video that everything became monotonous, but I actually got into a query session where they were asking me why I was absconding, but it was kind of the beginning part of my time with them was kind of interesting, where I did talks, I did I did campus tours. I did uh, phone calling for the clearing period. I did a lot of different roles. I did mailing. I did um, I did office work. So it was kind of different, and I liked the different roles that I had to take at each point in time. But at some point, it became monotonous because I just kept seeing myself doing car park duty during open days. And for someone from the sub-Saharan Africa, it's obviously in being in a different country in a different continent, it was cold. I'm not even gonna lie, but being aside of it being cold, it was doing the same role at every single time that kind of just got to me. I don't like patterns. I don't like schedules. I don't like being told what to do. Generally, generally. So it's just I at that point I knew getting a job was not the thing for me. So I think it was second year university. That was when I started thinking about what will I do with my life since I don't suit a job role. So that was when the ideation period started for me. The idea of HubbonNG, even on Facebook, didn't start with HubbonNG. I created a different, obviously it was not a registered company at the time, but it was something I was thinking about, and at the time I was supposed to register, called Ace Network. So similar ideology, similar things, getting customers for my clients. So that was just basically the same thing, but the way that I have it now is more refined. It's more direct. I knew my target audience. I know my target audience now, and everything just seems a little bit figured out. But obviously, I still appreciate that there's a long way to go. So, generally, what I have to say to everyone is figure out who you are, figure out what you're good at, figure out your skill set, and figure out what people ask you for, and figure out that main issue with the country or with the world or with your continent that you want to solve. And that is your business. But not everyone is supposed to be an entrepreneur, and that is key. That is key. You need to be able to go through a lot of introspection. You need to meditate and figure out who you are. Also, if I'll be adding some extra information below the video, links to certain information concerning whether or not you're supposed to be an entrepreneur, and also if I find it or something like that, I would also put the link or the number to the life purpose coach, Mr. Peterson Adeni, because he is key. He's key to finding out exactly what you want to do. He's tested, he's trusted, and any advice that you get from him would be very, very important. So, yeah, I'll put information on that and any other information that I feel would be important to this video. I would also put it down, probably a link to it or information concerning it will just be below. So if you like this video and you think you might be interested in what I have next in store, which would be changing the ideology of investments in startups or general business. So yeah, that'll be the next video. And so if you're interested and you want to know more and you want to hear from me again, just like, subscribe, and share. I mean, because obviously there might be someone else that might be in need of this information that you're just watching and not sharing. So that is key as well. So thank you again. I'm Munachiso Ejieji, CEO and founder of HubbonNG, and this is me signing out. Thank you and God bless. Bye.